Oh snap! Oh snap!
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody calm down. No.
Episode, I believe, 6 of season 3 of Yes. And after this episode, you get after. And what did DJ Khaled say? Another one. You get all of the Invincibles. All of them. All of them.
Bruh.
Man, listen. All right, so J. King, I've been waiting for you to watch this episode. Now you are officially caught up with me. So yes, yes, I can wholeheartedly say, well, shout out, this is the darkest episode of this entire series to date.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Powerplex was voiced by Aaron Paul. And who did a phenomenal job in this. But yeah, what was just your raw emotions for this episode?
God. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. This episode, so as soon as I realized, because it's like at first I was like, I didn't know where this was going, but the moment I realized, wait a minute, where are we? And I'm like, oh, we're in Chicago. I'm like, wait, we're in Chicago. Yeah, this episode.
Chicago!
Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Civil War. What did I tell you? It's Civil War. It's like Captain America Civil War. Like, you know, again, this season, this entire season is dealing with the ramifications of Mark's actions, and I say either intentionally or unintentionally. Everybody is reacting, you know, to Mark, and also Mark is reacting to his own actions, you know, in previous seasons and stuff like that, right? And again, he cannot catch a break. He really can. And within this episode, it's both actions and inactions from the season 1 finale, because. And I didn't even think about that. You remember that little, just for y'all, do you remember that little moment during his fight with his father when he was holding on to that little girl in that falling building? Yeah, it turns out our little character of our villain, I guess our first major villain for the season multiplex, that was his sister and niece. And he doesn't just hate Omni-Man, he hates Invincible. And since there's only one of them on Earth right now, he's not going to stop until he gets... And trust me, he ain't going to stop until he gets his hands on... And can we talk about how many times they keep beating you over the head over and over? You can get annoyed by us doing it. This show keeps doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah, that moment,
the ridiculous way, and it's like it's like because they play on the joke of it, but at the same time it's an emotional scene. But it just like it still beats you. Like this is like halfway through the episode. You know, it's not like at least what good 20 minutes or so has gone in book.
Yeah,
you know, but it was hilarious. But at the same time, it was just it made perfect sense in terms of adding that to there. But again, the tone of the show, how they balance this and stuff is just amazing. But yeah, I said this is the darkest episode, but it's the saddest one too, only because you're seeing this is an example of somebody. Well, there's many layers to this episode because, like, I've been waiting to talk about this because there's layers of what happens when you have unforgiveness. Regardless of what you think any deed or so is unforgivable, is that how that challenges you as a person. I mean, even from me on a religious point, my side, there's a whole other aspect of that too that we're called to forgive, but it also say what's the dangers if you don't. I mean, I understand that you feel somebody should be responsible, and yes, someone should be responsible, but at the same time, he was trying to save those people, even the context of all that. But I'm glad to at least tie that in, which is like this episode. We really think like, have they really had a memorial of that?
No,
city now.
They haven't, and by this point, it's been like almost a full year since, like, in universe wise, since Omni-Man and Invincible's fight. It's like we've had so much go on that we forget that not that much time has passed in universe to when the season 1 finale happened and all those people died.
Yeah, and I felt like with this, like again, it's even not even to Powerplex, but also like his wife, like is like the fact of like she also had this blind devotion too, and the fact they were parents was even making it more sad. Like how people deal with not survivor survivor complex was it called or no survivor's guilt. Yeah, survivor's guilt with that, but and how far extreme it'll take you, right? And actually it's sad because again this person could just move on from it, and it's not that nobody wasn't holding him accountable, but you understand when people are so far removed from your life that like we all have things people have done bad things to us, or we probably done bad things to people either unintentionally, right? But at the same time, what happens when somebody just doesn't let that go, right? How I'm in a better position in my life because I've let go of a lot of things, but has that person from the other receiving end, have they let that go? You don't know, right? That's just the aspects of life. But it is saying that what makes it a tragic thing is like even after all of that, he still wouldn't, after the loss of his wife, loss of his his child, and the horrific shot of scorched corpse there, which is like that is the most gruesome thing that even any of the Invincible season 1 episode 1 has done. This is the darkest episode ever. And he still wouldn't let that go. It's like, and then, like Mark, and then how they'll create this own narrative in your head, thinking like you think just because you know their names that all is forgiven and stuff, right? It's like, but I think Mark, definitely gonna get we'll come to a point, we actually learn to let that go or evolve to a new side of himself where he is, not saying pulling the punches, but also knowing, not feeling guilty every time when he has to make that choice to kill. But aside from that, the rest of this episode, there's a lot of things with that memorial. You're seeing also Eve, like he's like when the Powerplex is like challenging him to show up and stuff, he's just like, hey, Invincible, he doesn't know much about it. He didn't know the fact that Powerplex is calling his name, but he's just out with his friends, with his ex-girl and her new man, and also again in a mature way. Yes, awkward but mature, and I feel like it's great to show that in today mainstream media, because again we can be a lot very immature about stuff, and stuff just moving on, right? Now I will say, I don't know if they're gonna do one story beat with her, Amber and her new man, in the next week episode. I don't know, but that'd be very interesting.
Maybe not this season, but maybe next.
But this is where at the time the frame.
I know, but it's like given everything. I mean, really, but given everything that who knows? Look, I'd be very surprised if we go into next week's episode and it's like one of the first few, or at least it does have. I feel like they're not going to shy away from it if they do it, but I'm just like, would they do it next episode, or given everything we're about to go through, do they want to wait till next season? I don't know.
Well, I think it's a story beat because it's just like it's coming off like we get introduced to this dude, and then immediately jump to like, oh yeah, what's the relation like, and it's like gonna be a slow burn because you're gonna have so much happening in that later half of next week's episode, and then just kind of it's gonna be a slow build up. Everybody go on with their lives. Rex and Shrinking Ray,
or just Ray, but yeah,
right. She like saying, oh, I want to move on and stuff, and he's like, what? This is my entire identity. This is all I know, right? And he's not wrong for that, and I think for staying. But again, it's like her, like I don't want to do this anymore, and stuff, and you won't blame her for doing that and stuff. But you have good moments, the calm before the storm, right? Even there's a lot that's happening with Powerplex, but like you have Robot helping, what's her name? Monster Girl, and making her a belt for her. But then at the same time, when she's crying, feeling happy that she's not going to age, or that she is going to age again, normally, which also, again, is a story beat in the comics now. And during that time, like they can, actually grow older with each other. But it was the fact that he even said, like, hey, just letting you know, there's nothing wrong about you. Right. It's like that was also reassurance, even from him, from an intellectual level, like also man to woman, like it just, again, mature writing. I'm not trying to fix your problems. I'm just trying to help you, because I care, and I'm just doing this for you. And you didn't have to ask me to do it. I just want to do it because I care about you. Not that I don't think that you can't defend yourself. Not that I think there's an imperfection about yourself, whatever. But he still reassured her in that moment, and while she was giving him affection, I just thought that was a beautiful scene. Yeah. So, but another thing about healthy partners, Eve, like when we actually get to the memorial scene, and like he calling for Invincible, Lily, and the other grieving families who have moved on. Some maybe have it, but not in this toxic way. But he's still, and making it about him, which I like how Eve's like, don't make this about you, because sometimes especially with grief, like we can have a moment of being selfish in a certain instance and stuff, and while understanding it, while going through trauma and allowing it to be unchecked and stuff, it can be dangerous, and what you saw here. But one thing I like that that Adam Eve, like she let her tell Mark, let me handle this, right? And that's just a supportive partner. But then at the same time, when she was getting hurt and Mark was trying to step in, the mom also reassured, like, hey, you need to give her more credit, she's strong, let her have it, and she did. And I was just like, that was just, and then when she's flying away, and then Mark just looking at her smiling, like this is his girl, this is gonna be the woman, woman of his life, but like that was such a supportive way, in a way of like none of the brothers and none of him have to jump in on this and stuff. He's like, let me handle this, like that. And that I just thought that was just beautiful, and stuff here. But aside from that, like the Guardians Globe, they had a small interaction, like, you guys can handle this, I'm out. But aside from that, what was just your thoughts in terms of obviously the darkest scene of, like, he used his wife and child as bait to get Invincible, and the wife was all in and literally spat in Matt's in Invincible's face.
Yeah, look, it's like grief makes people do some dangerous stuff sometimes, and it's like, you understand he was hurting from having lost his sister, who he said basically raised him, and his her niece, his niece, her daughter, who he probably treated like just the same as if it was his own kid that he also had. But grief made him do some dangerous stuff, and you understand why he was that way. He lost someone extremely close to him, and he felt like no one was talking about it. And again, it's like, with Nolan gone, the only person to take accountability is Mark. If Nolan was here, he probably would have went after him, which that would have not ended gracefully. But yeah, but again, it's like Mark is the only outlet for his anger, and it's just made him do some stuff, even if, again, the rational thing, like most of the other victims that were there at the memorial, would be to move on. And even if you fully haven't moved on yet, is to learn to move on, because what happened. None of what happened was forgotten. None of what happened has been belittled. But you're taking it, you're honestly making it about yourself, even if you're saying you aren't. You're like, oh no, Invincible's the one that did this. He and his father are the one. I'm the one trying to get things right. Meanwhile, you're causing damage, fighting off against other superheroes, putting people in harm's way, putting your own family in harm's way, regardless of the fact that your wife was into this. Like, it should have been enough the moment your kids started crying, but no, you wanted revenge badly, and now you lost even more than you did that day in Chicago, and he still won't admit to where he went wrong with it. Because at the end, he's like, oh, you think the fact that you just remember, or you remember who I'm talking about, like my sister and my niece, you think just because the fact that you remember them means that we're good? No, I will get out of here one day and I will find you and end your life. It's like he is not taking accountability for his end of this. Like, Mark is taking accountability. He's been taking accountability since last season, dealing with everything that he had to deal with that day. It's made him grow up into where he currently is right now as a superhero, brother and son and boyfriend. And this dude will not. And it's just like, grief is a very hard thing. And if you take it the wrong way, I mean, thankfully we don't live in a world of people like this, but it's like they have to.
Well, I mean, we kind of do, but like,
yeah, I know,
some sort of fashion with that, but yeah, even then, we're thinking that it's enough. Mark had enough and everything. Have his moment of, not say peace, but just of calm, and anything after that traumatic situation. And then also, again, we find out somebody else is spying on him, and it's the same person. We find out full, it's Sterling K. Brown is Langstrom.
Angstrom Levy, he's back, but he's not alone. Unlike the first time where we just know it's him, this time we see his battered but fixed up body, and he's got an army with him. What type of army? An army of...
Oh, I got paid. War is coming. War is coming.
An Invincible War is coming. He's got a whole bunch of marks from different universes, and if you can tell by just the way they look, these are not good guy marks.
No, all of them. You have different variants. You have full on Viltrumite marks with the mustache. You have different Invincible costume variants, and one burnt up to Chris, one Mohawk one. The Mohawk one is my favorite.
But yeah,
comic readers.
But yeah, if y'all been wondering why the logo keeps changing colors, what's the significance? This is it. The different colors is to represent this, what many comic book fans know as the Invincible War.
Yeah, so Invincible, and I knew this was coming for a long time for this season, and that's why I waited for you to watch this episode, and then as we get into the final 2 episodes, because they couldn't, we only received the first 6 episodes with all this. They know when we get closer, then they'll reveal the final 2. But as with that, again, just Invincible War is coming after that, then you don't know who else will drop by. So it's like again, Mark is getting the ass beating of his life in this season. And it doesn't stop. It
does not.
Emotionally, this doesn't stop. And just I wish I had what's the military song you do when you salute and they play the trumpet to say goodbye to fallen soldiers. Yeah, you might want to play that for next week's episode. People's contracts about to be ending.
A lot of bodies are about to hit the floor next episode. I'm just remembering the Invincible War from the comics. This is about to be devastation, so prepare for next week, guys. We're in the thick of it.
Yeah, so, and I keep saying the show does not stop. Again, and I know Robert Kirkman was talking about possibly getting the show up to 8 seasons. If they keep this momentum up, I can see it miles away. And so again, More Invincible the better. With this type of writing, this is how you do it. And it's not even about how the violence of the gore or anything. It's the writing of all these characters.
Yeah, no, it's not about seeing heads pop off or bodies burned to a crisp. It's about the emotional weight that is behind all of that.
Yeah, and I gotta make sure I don't spoil my thumbnail on this because I'll probably use it for the next week episode. But anyway, Invincible War is here and it's coming, y'all. So anyway, next week when we break down that traumatic episode, make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment, like, and share, hit the notification bell so you'll be updated on all our videos. And also make sure you check out some of my video essays as well on this channel. I got more of them coming soon. And we're receiving you guys' feedback on that. I really appreciate it. But other than that, we'll see you guys next week. And yes, I hope you guys stay alive and stuff.
Because certain characters are not about to be alive after next week.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. No, not all of us can be. Anyway, all right, we'll see y'all.